Hey everybody, Father Warner here. So I must say that I thought I would do many recordings in Rome. I was exhausted at 25,000 steps and sometimes even trying to catch up with sleep in the night for about 7, 8, 9 hours. It was not enough. Rome is exhausting. If the pickpockets don't wear you out because you're constantly aware for pickpockets, I think the cobblestones of Rome do its trick on your feet. Having said that, I'm now in Naples for just 2 days and I'm recording for the 27th of March. Thank you for your birthday greetings. Today actually is the 25th of March when I'm recording this, so I'm looking through many of your messages and I'm unable to respond to all of them, but I will do so in the days to come. So the teaching is for the 27th of March, even though I'm recording in Naples on the 25th, that is the Feast of the Annunciation. And I must tell you, I had the privilege yesterday on my birthday. So remember, I'm recording on the 25th for the 27th, referring to the 24th. That's as complicating. Yesterday, I walked for the second time through the Holy Door at St. Peter's. It was my birthday treat, my birthday gift. I also prayed at the tomb of St. Peter's. Yesterday we traveled to Naples and I came to the cathedral of the Annunciation, of the Assumption, and I'll talk to you more about the saint of Naples. Besides Saint Lorenzo, who's very famous, I'll talk to you about that one fine day. Anyway, it was a beautiful day. Thank you for your messages. We are in Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 23 to 28, and Luke chapter 11, verses 14 to 23. Remember, I'm recording for the 27th of March, which is the Thursday in Lent. Now, I want to begin by saying this: that heaven is not heaven is a disciplined place. Heaven is not some, anything goes, happy, clappy kind of space. So you need discipline in this world in order to live in a disciplined world in heaven. And God is very clear. He begins in Jeremiah by saying, if you obey my voice, once again, the word is if. There's no compulsion on the Christian. It's a free choice. If you obey, then I will be your God. So there is a kind of a give and take. We sometimes take, we say God will love me with no circumstances, with no punishments. No, that exists. Yeah, if you obey my voice, I will be your God. So it's not a happy, clappy place. If you obey my voice, says God, then I will be your God. Then obviously you shall be my people, but you will also have to walk in the ways that I command you. So why? So that I may guide you, says God. So to use the words of scripture, so that it may be well with you. So you see, love has a framework. You cannot say, I love you and therefore I can, within my marriage do whatever else I want. No, love has a framework. In the same way, with God, there is a framework of loyalty, of fidelity. God often refers to Israel as his adulterous people. He refers to them as a wife who has not been faithful. Love has a framework. That's the first thing I want you to remember. Yet what was the consequence? We are told in verse 24, they did not obey his voice, they did not incline their ear. I've done this before. Very often we not only do not incline, we recline and we decline. I'm dramatizing this a bit. They did not incline their ear, they did not even make the effort to listen to him. But as we are told, in their stubbornness of their evil will, that's when you begin to think, I have the answers and God has nothing on his side. They began, we are told, to walk in their own counsels. They don't follow the laws of God, they follow their own laws. And we see this danger in the modern world. It's very ironic. We accept secular rulers, we accept secular leaders, we accept secular laws. We will not break a red light at a traffic signal. Come to the faith, everything is broken. So religious norms are rejected. So God very clearly says, now you have become so stubborn that you have created your own counsel. What is the consequence of all of this, says Jeremiah? You don't end up looking forwards, you end up looking backwards. And if you know, try walking backwards, you're going to forget looking backwards. You start walking backwards, you're obviously going to stumble. Therefore, in verse 25 of this text of Jeremiah chapter 7, God reminds us. He says, I have dealt with your kind before. Look at your ancestors. I dealt with them when they came out of Egypt, and I sent them all my servants. Here, God is referring to his prophets. What did they do? Your ancestors did the same thing. They did not listen to me, they did not pay attention. And he uses a word that the Israelites would have immediately picked up, because in the book of Exodus, God calls his people, they say, God says, you have stiffened necks. And Jeremiah uses that same text to refer to the Israelites when they were leaving Egypt. They had stiffened necks. And now comes the final result. This is, as it were, result day in school. And God says, guess what? You did worse than your ancestors. In short, God is saying, at least you should have got a D grade, which your ancestors got, but you have got something way lower. Even if you copied in that exam, copied your ancestors, you would have still been safe, but you are not. You have got more than a failing grade. Now, when you look at the prophet Jeremiah, you realize that he converted no one. His ministry, spanning about 40 years, almost seemed to be a complete failure in that sense, because no one, God says to him, now try, Jeremiah, you speak to them, they will not listen to you. You call to them, they will not answer. And we know for a fact that Jeremiah only faced rejection. He didn't get converts. So he was not the popular prophet, and neither are we all called to be popular prophets. So God says, say this to the nation. If you do not obey the voice of God, you do not accept discipline, if truth in your life has perished, and God describes it so beautifully, he says, the truth has been cut off your lips. You have come to a point where you cannot even honestly accept very basic truths. Then you reach a point of spiritual anarchy. I am the master of my life. I will do what I want. Then God says, you can cut your hair, you can offer your candles, you can raise your lamentations. Everything that we do in Lent then is rejected, because truth, which is fundamental, the truth of God, has been thrown out. Come to Luke chapter 11, verse 14 to 23, and you see once again they're wearing off the patience of Jesus, just like in the first reading. And I think that's the link between the two, wearing off God's patience. Jesus says, okay, what's the parable? Jesus has cast out a mute demon. The demon goes out, and the person speaks. The crowds are amazed, okay? Everyone is amazed, but there is always the but. There is the some and there is the others, and you'll find these words in scripture. There was some in verse 15 of Luke chapter 11, we are told. Matthew and Mark, by the way, tell us who that some is. Luke doesn't. Matthew, Mark says that these are the Pharisees. And what are they saying? Oh, you have cast out this demon through the prince of Beelzebul. Others, we are told, we don't know who these others are, perhaps also the Pharisees, they now demand a sign from him. Sometimes when you keep working, it's not good enough for some and it's not good enough for others, because I've often said this, these are armchair critics. They are people in your parish who will sit down, do nothing, but they are very good at advising you on everything else and tearing you down. And I must admit that it will affect you. Don't ever believe, people say listen from one ear and throw it out from the other. Easier said than done. Jesus had his own share of critics, but you need to answer your critics, and Jesus does them. And he says, you're so foolish, just think logically. Can a kingdom which is divided stand together? You're saying that I am removing this demon from by the power of Beelzebul. Then through what power do your own people do the same? I think we need to sometimes we need to use a logical response, and we need to place that out in front of many of what I would just think critics who have nothing better to do, never put their hands into the masala, if I may say so, because it's always a spicy business. They want somebody else to do it, but they will not do it themselves. Let me close looking at the first reading and the gospel of today. And just one reflection I want to throw at you, and that's this: what kingdom do you choose? The people of Israel, the people at the time of the prophet Jeremiah, and the people of Jesus, some in the time of Jesus, made their choices very clear. What kingdom do you choose? If you like this video, please share it with your friends. Hit that like button and do subscribe to this channel. Leave your comments, and I'll see you soon. I plan to post all of this on all of what I've seen on Instagram because it's easier for me. So you can go to my Instagram handle, Potty Padre, Pottypadre, and already hit the follow button. And in the days to come, I will be posting several of my tours and journeys through Rome and a bit of Naples. Naples is just meant to be a short, brief 2-day stay before we go back to Rome and then head to India. Bye for now.